like before. Those guys go in there, feel confident that that house of horrors is good, solid, strong, but more importantly than that, it has all kinds of defects. It knows how to find. I wouldn't even know what to look for. But the fact of the matter is, because of people like James, this thing exists. And he's training through this training facility for inspectors all around the world. Learning and going through the house of horrors and learning all about what the house of horrors is. And learning about it. So I really want to thank you and coming here for supporting us, for being part of our community. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. Next person I want to have come up here is Alex Johnson, that runs the Broward Real Estate and Business Network Group. Alex, come on up and introduce yourself.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you for coming. It's good to see such a big turnout. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this event. Thank you, James. It's the first time our group has done this. So for those of you who have not attended before, the Broward Real Estate and Business Network meets every Thursday, either in person or on Zoom, to network in the field of real estate and general business. We meet at Jenny's Restaurant, Boulevard with Caroline Road, first Thursday of every month, and then on Zoom the other Thursdays. So again, thank you for showing up. I am recording the event. Again, thank you very much, James.
Thank you so much. Something wrong with my. The next person I want to come up here just for 5 minutes, Ben from Boston Construction. Ben, come on up. Ben is a Florida licensed general contractor and a Florida licensed roofing contractor.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Vincenz. I worked with, I grew up in Weston. I worked for the city of Weston as a building inspector and code officer. I've worked with people like James, again, in commercial and residential property inspections, do due diligence and has all the tools. So that's important that you have all the tools. I'm a tool for property research. So basically, I clear up open permits, code violations, anything having to do with the city, occupational licenses, anything that involves work that was left over by a contractor, permanent work for the previous property owner. Something that we also emphasize is to make sure you do your property research. So you don't need to wait until you do a closing to pull a lien search. We've had investors, high-end real estate agents, property managers, commercial and residential, full municipal lien searches. In Broward, we have over 30 cities, and then in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, we have over 100 municipalities. So the point I'm trying to make is this is a South Florida issue. We want to help people with real estate transactions, and we want to be support to our home inspection community. Should I say property inspection? Thank you so much for having me, James.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. The next guest we have here is Isidore Perfetta. He's a Florida licensed electrical contractor and a Florida licensed mechanical contractor.
Good afternoon. My name is Izzy. I happen to be James and G's cousins. I am a state licensed electrical and mechanical contractor. I do residential, industrial work. I also have a record firm where I sell wholesale, business to business, everything I do. I got also a big ass fan for commercial fans. And second generation contractor here in South Florida. The customers for 30, 35 years. Thank you.
All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty. My name is James Gonte, owner and operator, chief inspector of A1 Property Service Company. Please fill out the release of liability forms, sign them, and please pass it on to Nelson.
We all did.
Once again,
I got it.
Like Nelson.
Oh,
You talk louder.
Everyone sold between 19 and 1995. So if you're purchasing a property, you want to keep that in mind. Cast iron pipes. Excuse me. Let me turn this on. Cast iron pipes, anything before 1975 should have, if they haven't replaced it already, cast iron pipes. What we do at 8-1, we do super scope inspections. Very important if you're buying a property that's older than 1975. Lead-based paint, anything before 1978 will have lead-based paint. Where it becomes a problem when it's the original paint and it's peeling and children put it in their mouths. So there is lead-based painting inspections. Reactive drywall, better known as Chinese drywall. If you're purchasing a property between 2001 to 2009, it may have Chinese drywall, so you may want to get it inspected. Radon gas. What is radon gas? It's a natural occurring gas. It's the second leading cause of lung cancer. So when you see people that may have lung cancer and they were non-smokers, most probably they got it from radon gas. Mold inspections, very important in Florida, high relative humidity, moisture in South Florida, all of Florida for that matter. Super important to get a mold test done, especially if you're going to be a landlord. You don't want the liability with the tenants. So super important. Water quality testing for public, which is city water, or private, which is well water. So we also do water testing. For all this environmental things that I'm saying, I use ProLab in the building that you're at today. Asbestos testing. Did you know a lot of popcorn ceilings were made with asbestos fibers? So if you see a peeling, you may want to get it tested for asbestos. Super important. Ceilings, popcorn ceilings. Also, FPE stab lock panels. The insurance company don't like to insure them. They were caused to be hazardous because the breakers were not tripping when it was overheating. Same thing with Cisco panels. Also, a big thing is tank or tankless water heater, which is known as on-demand water heaters. A lot of people are switching over to tankless water heaters. It started in Europe and it's very popular. Also, the mini splits are very popular. This is your time to ask me any questions that you have or any problems that you have with another inspector. I won't throw them underneath the bus, but I'm here to help you. I'm here to answer any and all questions that you have. Take the opportunity that you're with a person that's been doing this for 33 years. I'm very well known. Google my name, the name of my company, and see what I'm all about. I've done national commercials. Like I said, I just filmed with Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. So I'm glad you're all here. This is your opportunity to ask me any questions that you have related to residential or commercial inspections or environmental. Also, we have other professionals in this group. You met Ben from Boss Construction. He specializes in open permits. Very important. He's a general contractor and a roofing contractor. You heard Izzy? He's a mechanical contractor and electrical contractor. Remember, inspectors, we're generalists. I'm not a contracting company. I'm an inspector. I'm totally unbiased to any inspection that I do. My purpose is not to find something wrong for me to get paid to fix it. I don't do that. We're an inspecting company, strictly an inspection company, unbiased. Just want to make that perfectly clear to all of you. Any questions out there? Go ahead, sir. Yeah, radon gas is a natural occurring gas that comes from the ground up. From the ground. It's radioactive material. It can seep in through the cracks. Remember, they're building houses that are very closed. Houses need to breathe. So new construction is coming up with a lot of radon gas inside because they're making it airtight. They're using isolating insulation, which is a closed cell insulation. They're making it tight. These impact windows, everything's tight. So it gets trapped inside the house. The problem is in the state of Florida, there's probably 20 radon inspectors. It's very difficult to get a radon license. I have one. So we do radon testing all over the state of Florida. And there's mandatory testing. All public, private schools, all ALFs, all living facilities, prisons, schools need mandatory radon testing. Yes, but that doesn't mean the whole house doesn't have it. So we provide the service of radon testing. Okay, I just want to educate you. Yes, Lynn. Yes, hold on 1 second. This is my wife, Jeannie. Introduce yourself, Jeannie.
Hi, Gia. I'm James's wife, also part of the A1 team. I'm a radon inspector as well, a technician, I should say. And to your question, if somebody is actually remodeling a house and they are knocking down walls and there's the grounds are being moved around, that's where radon also comes out much more. There's a second floor, is a stacking effect, radon does go up. So if there's a second floor, we should also be testing for you for
How
radon.
do you detect that? You have a device?
Yes.
Yeah, there's charcoal canisters that absorb it. Then I take it to this laboratory, Pro Lab, and it gets analyzed.
Just stare at the house.
You could do that, but what happens when you close it? It's trapped back inside the house. It's just to educate you. We're here to educate you. Go ahead, Lynn, you had the question, sorry.
So my question is, so it sounds like I've been working under a total misconception for many years. And that is that I was told one time that radon is heavy air. And so like in South Florida, where we don't have any basements, that it kind of does fall out of the house. Could you address that?
Yeah, that's a misconception. Crawl spaces, slabs, obviously it's more frequent in basement because it's below grade. But there is high elevation of radon gas. When you have a chance, just Google radon gas, state of Florida, and it'll show you the areas that have high elevation of radon gas.
Radon detectors that you can buy, are they any good?
That's good for pre-screening. If you see high levels, have a professional like myself go there and do the testing.
I don't need it. Does that include new houses and old houses?
Yes, both new and used should be tested. In your sales contract, there's disclosure for radon gas. So all the realtors in this room should know that. There's disclosure for Chinese drywall, for mold, for reactive drywall, for all these environmental issues. The thing is, as a buyer, you want to have your inspections done. You want to know what's wrong with that property before you purchase it and own it. Because as soon as you own it, you own the problems also. Yes, sir. Sorry.
So, I don't,
Okay.
so, my question is, why don't they change the law and, according to, your inspection on this, radiation and everything else? Why don't they just change the law and put something else in there?
Well, a lot of builders are installing radon mitigation systems during construction. The problem is it's very expensive and it increases the price of the house. So it could make it unaffordable for a person to purchase that property.
But it makes it safe. Who cares about the price of the house?
You're absolutely correct. The problem is, the bottom line is price. Unfortunately, I get it all the time. I get calls all the time. James, what do you charge for this inspection? Oh, James, you're too much money. It's like anything else. You need to pay for experience like myself. Yes, sir.
Find the gas. Possible to fix it?
Yes, you have to hire a radon mitigation company. Remember, we're strictly an inspection company, so we refer you to a mitigation company that will vent that radon gas to the exterior. There's mitigation systems in place.
On the side of the house?
Correct, it's like special fans, like special exhaust fans. Yes, sir.
So Jake, when the realtor calls you, they got an inspection, and they do all these or just some of them?
No, let me tell you what a regular home inspection includes when you call my company. I think that's important for you to know that. When a person calls my company, the home inspection includes roof, structural, termites, electrical, plumbing, AC system, all appliances, interior, exterior, 4-point insurance inspection, and windstorm mitigation insurance inspection. Now, there's optional inspections recommended. For example, if the house has a pool, I'm sure you want a pool inspection, so we could do that too. If the house has a septic tank, we do septic tank inspections also. If you need a mold inspection, we can take care of that for you. If you need a radon gas inspection, we can take care of that for you. If your house was built before 78, we can do the lead-based paint inspection. There's so many inspections that you could do. It's like endless. If you buy a property on the water, we do dive and seawall inspections. The main thing is to call me, text me the address, I will look it up, and I will send you a quote. Yes, Pete?
Commercial, phase 1, phase 2.
Okay, we don't do phase 1 or phase 2s, but I can refer you to somebody that specializes in that.
What is that? Phase 1, phase 2?
It's environmental testing for commercial property. And banks like to request it when they are lending money out. For example, a gasoline station, a dry cleaners. That's definitely, yes, sir.
Repeat the part about it.
FPE panel, stat block, and Zinsco panel. Those are the two that the insurance companies don't like to insure. Zinsco. Sometimes challengers, they don't accept that one. That's up to the insurance company. Our job as inspector is to report what we see and the brand that it has.
Could you please repeat those two names?
Yes. Yes, Dave.
The inspector take one of those thermal pictures of an AC vent and say possible fungus growth?
They can only say that if they're a licensed mold assessor.
Yeah, I don't know if they're licensed
Yeah,
inspectors.
you can't use the word mold unless you're licensed in mold. I'm licensed in mold, so I can use the word mold. The same thing with termites. You can't say termite.
And what happens?
Say that again?
Turns out to be mildew and the inspector said it was mold, then what do you do?
Then you have to clean it properly, the mildew, and there's remediations. But I'll speak to you about that after. That's more detailed. Yes, Larry,
James, how long does it usually take to do a residential inspection?
I would say, for a 2,000 square feet home, it takes under 2 hours, depending on the condition of the property.
That's pretty good.
Any questions? This is your time, I'm telling you. Yes, Ben. Okay. Go ahead.
James, I have two questions as far as from the property inspector's perspective. Two things that I get a lot question about is, I don't know what they're called, you probably know, but it's these, I'm not polybutylene, but it's these like inserts and pipes that they're using to cure cast iron pipes. We've seen a lot of faulty, so they're selling this product for 40%. And of what repiping a house costs and say this is a miracle product, you don't have to tear up the floor. And the same thing we're getting with the roofs. They're selling these roof membrane systems, but they're not new roofs. But the insurance company, so basically my question goes to those two items. What's your perspective regarding that liner and the roofing systems? And is it worth those investments?
I personally don't like the liners. The cast iron plumbing has already failed. There might be holes in them. You stick a liner in there and that plastic, it's like a plastic. And it goes underneath the holes. I'm not a fan of it. Replace the cast iron pipes.
It's under the slab.
Underneath the slabs, or even if you're gonna do a complete rehab, I would change all the cast iron pipes, including the plumbing stacks. Okay,
Anyway,
the plumbing stacks,
That stacks the pipes inside the wall
which is up in the attics,
and go through the roof.
right?
and you'll know about that when you do an inspection.
Correct. When I do a sewer stroke inspection, I'm inspecting the cast iron, make sure there's no cracks, roots growing inside, holes. I'm not a fan of relining. I've done a sewer stroke that had a liner and it just bubbled and disattached from that old cast iron. For me, it's a waste of money. Re-pipe the house. The drain pipes, which is cast iron, obviously. Another thing about, are you talking
And the
about?
same thing with like the icing on the roof. I've seen like my condo association, they invested a lot of money on this icing on the roof, which you can't put it on a failing roofing system. However, the cost of it's expensive and it's not done with permits and it's not a new roof. So what is the home inspector and the insurance perspective from that?
You know something? When I do a roofing inspection in the commercial residential, I'm looking at it very objectively. I'm seeing what it has, I'm seeing the conditions, I make my recommendations. I'm a big fan of silicone for flat roofs, a big fan. I want to 40 to building in Miami Beach. The roof was 20 years old. I didn't want to spend $50,000 to replace it. It wasn't leaking, the roof wasn't leaking, but there was a lot of granular loss. And I decided to do a silicone treatment, and it works really good for flat roofs only. Never paint your shingles or apply things, because a shingle roof has to breathe. Remember, the tile roof, the metal roof, all that is decorative. What counts is the underlayment, the papers, the 30-pound paper, the felt, the 90-pound paper underneath the roofing system. So the tiles, it's all cosmetic. But when I do a 4-point insurance inspection, the form says, is there any cracked tiles? If there is, I gotta say yes. Because what happens is you gotta report what you see, because you never know who's coming behind you. And the insurance company has a right to send their own inspector to verify what I'm running now. So you gotta cover your rear end. Yes, sir.
On the issue of with cast iron, I just had a situation where I sold the house and the buyer had an inspection. The buyer had an inspection done, and my contractor replaced all the cast iron. And nevertheless, the inspector mentioned that there was cast iron. And then when I actually called and tried to find out, he said the only cast iron was the cast iron going up on the roof. But why would that be included as all the cast iron?
Well, the insurance, the 4-point insurance inspection asks, is there cast iron? It's not specifying underneath the slab, underneath the crawl space. But remember, those are plumbing stats, and plumbing stats don't hold water. It's for air, for your toilets to flush on the P trap. The inspector's going to have to write cast iron and PVC. You can specify in the form, cast iron is only for the plumbing stats. You can write that in there under
But that
additional
was done.
comments.
As a result of that, the buyer literally backed out of the contract because he was so scared that the property had cast iron. And my contractor replaced all the cast iron.
Except
For
plumbing
the,
stats.
but that really, there was no water going through that.
That's correct. The problem is inspectors, not me, I'm a great communicator. That's the problem. A lot of buyers hire the cheapest inspector that has poor communication skills and just killed their deal. This is why I am very busy, because I'm a great communicator. I disclose, and I'm going to disclose it properly. You know?
Next time,
Yes, sir.
you know, as a consumer,
Okay.
now I'm learning all the stuff here. But as a consumer, I sold houses and all of it. Inspector comes on my house.
Nobody ever asked me, do you also want a radon inspection? Do you also want this? Do you want also that? I thought when I was getting an inspection, it was doing everything that is required. Oh, any better?
And the reason why that happens is all home inspectors are not licensed in all the categories like I am. They only have their home inspector's license. So the consumer is literally getting ripped off. The home inspector that's not licensed in mold, he cannot offer you a mold inspection.
Where every box is like, contact this person, contact that person, and
Correct. We're truly a one-stop inspection company. But optional inspections, and it's your choice to do it or not.
Until today, I did not know that.
Correct. So that's the problem. Their only license is a home inspector, so they're not gonna do a septic tank inspection. When I get a call to do an inspection, I have my secretary calling the city to verify if it's sewer or septic. There's a lot of lawsuits that happen with other inspectors out there. They don't find out if it's sewer or septic. So the buyer buys a house, things start backing up in the house, and the plumber says, hey, did you get your septic tank inspection? No, nobody told me. Then that's where the lawsuits start. So I disclose with sewer or septic, for example.
I had a similar problem after renovating the house. They had an inspector for the sale of the property, the complete inspection. And I got a 30-page report. I thought I was looking at the wrong inspection for the wrong house, but they did things where, like, regarding the piping, they had a camera that went underneath, checked all the pipes. I would check everything that I access to, but behind the panels, things like that, changed what I needed to, but they went underneath, underground, they had a little machine that checked it for moisture. Literally, they picked up things that after complete rehab, there was another 40 items that I had to touch up on.
Well, at least you got that free information from the buyer's inspection report. And remember, buyer's inspection reports are not transferable, so don't depend on the buyer. Oh, don't do an inspection, I just had one done yesterday. Don't do it. Hire your own inspector. Yes, sir.
Regarding the flat roof, you said you replaced the silicone base on it. Doesn't that not allow the roof to breathe? Doesn't the flat roof have to breathe?
You repeat that question. Sorry. You can repeat this question, you were gonna answer it.
When you put the silicone finish on the flat roof, in my opinion, I think it doesn't allow it to breathe. So my question, I'm asking the inspector, does the flat roof needs to breathe?
The answer is no. A flat roof does not need to breathe like a shingle roof or a tile roof. So the answer is no.
So I'm right.
So it's okay to silicone it. Hire a roofing contractor to silicone the roof. Don't go to Home Depot and buy it and do it yourself. It's not gonna come out because it has to have a certain amount of millage, which is the thickness of the silicone when it's applied. Yes, ma'am.
I can't write it fast.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. Could you go over your home inspection list? I'll tell you what I wrote and you tell me what I'm missing. How's that? Okay. Roof, 4-point, appliances, electrical, water heater, that's as far as I got. And you really had a huge list.
Perfect. Let me say it again.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
I'll do my best to get the rest.
Home inspection includes, when you call my company, roof, termites, structural, electrical, plumbing, AC system, all appliances, interior, exterior, 4-point insurance inspection, and windstorm mitigation insurance inspection. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Find out. Probably like 7 times.
You call the water department where the property is located and ask them if it's sewer or septic. That's it.
Jane,
Yes.
I was very impressed at the last meeting we attended, of Alex's meeting. And I'm impressed now. I'm just a researcher for investors. And I will bring that to their attention and tell them to go with you. All right? My investors are in Miami. And yes, I'm very impressed with you and I'm learning a lot. Yeah,
That's what we're here for.
yes.
I'm not here as a sales pitch. I'm here as an educator, to educate the investor. Is there any other questions out there? PVC all the way. PEX is gonna be the next polyurethane. PVC or PEX. PEX is a flexible pipe that the plumbers like to use because it's easier. Correct. Correct. PVC all the way. Yeah, CPVC is for hot water and PVC is for cold water.
So they can use both, gonna help?
Yes. Remember, any questions that you have after this meeting, my business card is right there on the table. Give me a call and I'll be happy to help you. Any questions back here?
I've been to
55 years.
a position on these commercials I've seen on TV, about some changes to codes, because of the storm we've had here in Florida. They're changing some of the codes. Building code.
From my experience, and Ben might want to talk about this a little bit, I don't think there's any big changes. And we're gonna go through scrappings and you're gonna see a lot of things at the House of Horrors when I take you through. I don't think so. I think on new construction, you're seeing more double scraps and things like that to hold the structure to the rafters and the walls too.
3 years ago, they changed we're in high velocity wind zone, and 3 years ago, they changed the engineering calcs for basically wind load straps, like James was saying, and windows, things like that. So I think they were trying to make the code more stringent, to basically up to 175 miles an hour. But that's something that these products are rated for, whether it's the roofing system or the windows. And that's something that we see in all these illegal additions and, all these converted garages, or we see flooding with drywall, and we see efficiencies that just get blown away because they don't have the right strapping and they're not part of the proper dwelling. So we actually, like, for example, in a lot of cities, they make us bring the property back to the original footprint. The older properties like North Miami and North Miami Beach or East Fort Lauderdale, they have so many additions on there that weren't permitted and they don't meet the wind load caps. So they're kind of getting into that. And when you get the city on the property for an inspection, whether it's a vacation rental, whether it's an occupational license, an Airbnb, they're coming to look for that stuff. So they're using licensing as a point of getting in the property. And sometimes they're not even getting in the property at all. They're using pictures from Airbnb, VRBO, they're using photos from Realtor.com, they're using photos that are syndicated from the MLS. So that's how a lot of the cities, as a code officer, are finding out about unpermitted improvements in the property.
Yes. In other words, if you're rehabbing a house, do it legally, it might bite you in the butt. Yes, sir.
You can verify that I had a house I completely rehab at the beach that I listed it. We had a letter from the city, and in the comments I put completely renovated home, like brand new. And they held me to all those comments. What I was gonna say also, after that, that 45-page report after I rehabbed the home. Is there a free, let's say for an investment, before I go in and start working, is there a pre-inspection? And then once I get all the contracts, do a work, or to do a post?
You could do when you purchase, you do a pre-listing inspection before you sell your property. Like I said, there's so many inspections you can do. Just give me a call, tell me what the situation is, and let me try to help you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
There's a recent report that came out about Florida asphalt roofs and the shorter lifespan of them. Do you foresee that being an issue with the insurance rates? That they're gonna start increasing insurance after that 10-year, 12-year cutoff?
Insurance is a different issue, of inspections and the life expectancy of a shingle roof. Shingle roof usually has this, life expectancy between 12 and 15 years. If it's a 3-tap shingle. If it's a dimensional or architectural shingle, it usually has a life up to 20 or 25 years. I don't know if you've seen the commercial roof mats on the international commercial. It's a moisturizer for dried out shingle roofs. When it's applied, they give a 5-year warranty. And what it does is it doesn't stop leaks, it makes the shingle new again. So it's flexible and pliable. So the insurance company, when this product is sprayed on, it's a soybean product, so it's a natural product that puts the petroleum product back into the dried out shingles. I do a lot of roof conditioning reports, and the insurance company has been accepting it. And I've done like 50, the roof backs delivered down south. Yes, the first 5 years, you could do it up to 3 times to extend the shingle life up to 15 years more.
Oh, first 5 years of the roof.
No, it's when the shingle is already dry, and you apply it, and it's a 5-year warranty. After the 5 years, you can do it another 5 years, and after that 5 years, you can do it for another 5 years. A total of 15 years more to extend the life of the shingle. Correct, you call me, I do a roof conditioning report, I inspect it, and I write up the report. Yes, it's not a coating, it's a moisturizer for dried out shingles. Correct. What happens is, with shingles that are dried out, when there's a lot of wind, they blow it off. The shingles blow off. With the Roof Max product, it's a moisturizer, so it becomes flexible and shingles won't fly off.
Like that product. Like that product.
No, I like that product. I'm in the national commercial, so before I endorse any product, believe me, I research big time. If I've got my reputation on it, it's because I believe it.
Just a comment on the roofing. If you're gonna be doing a rehab, if you can put it into your budget to do a metal roof, do a metal roof every single time. It's 50 to 60 years. Inspector like him will walk out and go, wow, metal roof. He'll put his little drone in the air and look to make sure it's all sealed up. And that's it. He's done. He doesn't want to go up there and crawl around and walk around. It's the best roof made right now.
That's all your profit though, as a rehab.
Remember, there's 2 types of metal roof. There's unseen, and you don't see the screws or the grommets. So there's 2 kind of metal roofs. As an investor, I like the ones with the screws. It's cheaper, and you replace the screws if they get dried out and if leaks start
Every time I
happening.
put a metal roof on a house, I've gotten my investment out of it by adding 10,000.
100%. There's nothing better as a rehabber to say, listen, this roof is brand new. It's metal.
Yep.
And make sure the warranty is transferable to the new buyer. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about roofing. I've rehab quite a few properties, and yeah, I've rehabbed quite a few properties and sold them. And I've had a number of issues where I pulled permit, put a brand new roof on, and during the inspection, the inspector come and he's like, hey, there's an issue with the roof. Even though I went through the city, pulled permit and passed the inspection. Any interest in?
That falls under the roofing contractor. He's not doing it right. And then
The city approved it.
well, if the city approved it and you close up the permit, that's it. That's it. You did it legally. You pull the permit, you hire a roofing contractor, he pulls a permit, he's got all of the inspections done. Depending what kind of tiles or shingles,
But oftentimes you have a home buyer who this is their first home and they're relying on the on the inspector. And if the inspector said, hey, there is an issue with the roof, that's what they're going to do.
Then what I would do is I would get a copy of that portion of that report, call your roofing contractor, says, fix it. Remember, the city inspector has no liability. It's a great job. There's no liability. You can't get sued. It's great. He's looking, remember, what is building code? It's the minimum standard. The bottom standard to build a house more to replace a roof. It's the minimum. It's not cosmetic. I get hired a lot of times to make sure that the roofing contractor is doing the roof properly throughout the stages of roof replacement. A city inspector goes, oh, looks like this side, goodbye, next. He has 50 inspections to do that day. And as you know, in Barber County, traveling time with the traffic and headaches is a problem. So I could also be hired to babysit the contractor.
It's along the lines of David's comment. Usually on a lot of these low rent homes, we go the other end. We single ship is cheapest, but there was this one house that I didn't calculate the roof and eyeball the plane, and then turned out to have 3 holes in it. But anyways, I didn't do a new roof, and I get the quotes at the for shingle. They gave me 3 quotes with no warranty. One with the middle warranty, one with the full 40-year warranty. I mean, I went with the 0 warranty, it was like a $2,000 difference. And I figured they're gonna go and spec it to the roof. It is what it is, but.
Yeah, the cheaper roof is the minimum by code. Then there's upgrades, different kind of peel and stick, SWR, 3-ply, there's SWR, which is waterproofing on the seams or in the deck. So they were trying to sell you an upgraded roof. The cheap price was the minimum standard for them to get approved by the city. If that's what you want, that's what you get.
You won't be able to tell the difference when you're up there doing inspection.
No, because remember, I'm not seeing it during the process. But I can see the nailing patterns, because they have to really nail the deck. Any questions? It really depends. Text me that address of the property, I'll look it up and I'll send you a quote within 15 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Questions for scenario, if the proof 8 or 9 years old, a single the long-term rental, do you recommend to mention or replace it?
No, I would have myself go out there, evaluate it, and I will give you my recommendation. No reason to replace a roof if it's not leaking. Remember, I'm also an investor, so I know the angles that you guys are trying to work. And also my reports, we give pricing, repair, replacement costs. So if you have to renegotiate your deal, you'll be able to do it. Remember, I'm unbiased to your transaction. I'm not a contractor. We're strictly an inspection company. Any other questions? Okay, let me take one more question. Then we're going to go through the House of Horrors.
You have several inspectors. How do you all the inspectors? Because I have people that are. How do you maintain the inspection on machines on all of that?
The way I do that is, you have my business card, I'm gonna do your inspection if you call.
Oh, you do it?
Yes,
You don't have people.
I do. But if you have my business card, I will do it. Anywhere in the state of Florida. All right, I think that's enough Q&A. If you have any other questions, you can always contact me. We're gonna go through the House of Horrors. I'm gonna try to split you up at least. I think it's gonna be hard to go through everything, but follow me here. It's pretty interesting. Any questions?
Somewhere.
Oh, I spilled water.
Oh, okay.
All right, here's the different straps. Strapping for wind engagement credits. Okay, there's single straps, there's splits. You're not supposed to have spaces more than 1/4 inch. So these are the strapping in a wood frame construction. And we have the sandbell straps also. To continue here, this is block construction. Straps, you got saddles, single straps. Daytime roof shutters, Remember, if you're in Broward, Dade County, you have to be Miami-Dade County approved product. This is a high velocity wind zone, Miami-Dade and Broward. I know I'm going a little fast, but I'll be able to answer all your questions. Now we're coming up to electrical panels. These are cans. Main panels, disconnects, sub panels. So this is a training facility that was built by Internaxi for the education of home inspectors. Obviously, you know, these are not live wires, so we get to touch them and feel them and take out breakers and things like that. So it's very, very fun. Any questions so far?
One question.
Go ahead.
This inspector drove me crazy about the panel being, the brand was challenging. So I would try to figure out how does he know that it's challenging? So, you know, there was a couple of breakers that said challenging, so I with acetone, but then they kept saying that it was a challenge.
Now, what kind of inspector was this? A home inspector?
Yeah.
As a home inspector, you just document on your 4-point insurance inspection what it is. The insurance company will accept it or not accept it. The inspector's there to report what's existing, what's present.
How did he know?
Usually the label, the panel.
No, I removed that.
See, these are the slick stuff. They know, they look different. They can take a picture on Google and see it's a Challenger panel. There's many ways. There's many ways.
It's like how do you know a Ferrari is a Ferrari? You know, it
Listen,
looks
a lot
like.
of inspectors, we don't like to see mismatched breakers, GE and Square D and Challenger breakers. All these are heads up for an inspector. Okay? So especially with the rehabs, they're not done properly. You know? All right, let's come to the pool section. This is what you don't see when it's finished. The rebar, the bonding has to be bonded so nobody gets shot or killed. That's the vortex drain that you don't get sucked in to the drain. And there's been a lot of deaths that have happened with children and adults also. As you know, pool lights, they have to be 12 volts, not 110 or 120.
They always leak.
Correct. Pools always leak.
The pool's
The
always
buildings are
leak.
somewhere, it always leaks. Okay. We're gonna go up this way.
What do you think about fiberglass pool?
I'm not a fan of fiberglass pools, especially here in South Florida.
They're cheap.
They're cheap and they need to be maintained. And the chlorine will break it down, fiberglass.
Is it true that they tend to go up?
They can, depending the way it's installed. Any other questions? GC, any questions?
Yeah, no problem.
Are you an active GC? Do you remodel? New construction or is this rehab?
Construction, renovation, additions, licensed in Florida and North Carolina.
Perfect. You guys might want to get his.
Yeah.
Things like that. We're here to get. All right. so come over here. Hold your hand. OSB for you. We got an electric one, we got a gas one, we got a water filtration system. We got a well pump with a bladder for the pressure gauge, switch. Gas tank water heater, electric water heater, tankless water heater, we got it all here. Pool heater, pool pump, that's not bonded, this is the bonded. The wire has to be in there, it has to be bonded. And the best thing is nothing's energized, you can touch or feel everything.
Does it need to
No,
be on
this
a
is
slab?
for a well system or sprinkler pump,
Where's the water filtration?
right here.
Oh, that looks like very.
You could buy one for the whole house, buy a reverse osmosis for underneath your kitchen sink.
That's, which one is that?
This is the whole house.
For
For the whole house,
chlorine and everything.
everything. Okay. Any questions?
Where's all the illegal stuff? Where's all the illegal wire splicing?
Well, you'll see it in the next one.
Okay.
You'll see the fun, you'll see burnt pounds too. Let's move here, let's go to this room here.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Come this way, be careful with the steps. Please be careful of the steps.
Safety rating.
Yes. I like to use door rock when I do a bathroom. So they have green board here. And also underneath the sink, can't have the flex pipes, the slinkies, I call them slinkies.
They don't allow you.
No, they sell it. It's legal to sell at Home Depot. But there are some that are approved now.
No, they work great.
It's not doing the job properly. It has to be a richer pipe because you get a clog there very easily. It builds up because since it's like a slinky, it has ridges in there. So that's why it's not allowed.
Oh,
The slink, this one,
that. I don't know.
the slinky, I call it the slinky.
Yes. And I love using them because they're easy.
Yeah, that's how an inspector, sir, that's how an inspector knows. It's done by a non-licensed person. It's not permitted to work. When I do an inspection and I go to a 1950 and I see everything's brand new, the house tells me the story. And I do a permit search before going on the property, so I know already. And I put in my report. All remodeling was done without permits. So I put everybody on notice also. My job is to protect my client. Who is my client? The one that's paying me.
Is that required to do a permit search first nowadays, or?
Well, I do it in my company. I do a permit search on everything before I get out there. I verify if it's sewer or septic. I want to know these things. I want to know how old that roof is. I want to know the permits of the house. I really go deep when I'm hired.
But it's not required by all inspection companies to pull
No,
permit records.
no, it's whatever they want to do. I do it. I'm also an expert witness in court cases. So I'm very, very thorough. 80% of my clients are attorneys. I document well and heavy. And I prove if something's wrong.
Do they have to go through the roof vents or?
It could go to the side or it could go through the roof.
It's gotta go through somewhere. You can't
Yeah,
just
no,
go in the attic.
you cannot leave it in that, no. And dryer ducts and dry. And also, remember,
This is for educational purposes only. We don't do that.
remember, dryer ducts also. Have to be dryer ducts.
Have to go somewhere.
Correct. Let's not leave it in the attic. You see links, and lint is very flammable also.
I think I know a couple guys who could get their business.
Believe me, when I do an inspection,
Well, that's why we're here to learn, do it the right way next time.
Hire a licensed professional.
That's it.
Hire a licensed.
Because what's gonna happen is the buyer, if he hires me, you might walk away from your deal. I don't care. It's still a pig with lipstick. You know what I mean? I know what I'm looking at because I rehab houses too, professionally though.
You're saying not like him.
I haven't seen his work.
That's fired.
Who peels the labels off? Only one time.
It's sad. That is sad when you hear comments like that because it makes our industry look bad.
It's bad.
It's really bad, especially the licensed contractors,
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I mean, we're amongst a bunch of investors right now too, so.
Correct.
Well, that's why we're
They
here.
know how-
You know something? When a client hires me, it already killed the deal. And I don't kill deals on purpose. I'm doing a visual inspection
That's why they.
and it's right there. The problem's there. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is what it is. If you wanna waste your time and do things not properly, that's what's gonna happen.
Can't come to your house. Close the door. Get rid of that buyer.
Did you get an answer for our problem? All right. As you know, next to the kitchen sinks, there have to be GFCIs. Also with garbage disposal, you need to have a GFCI. There's not one there. There's more slinkies here. Just a lot of defects.
Has to be a certain height too when you put up,
Correct.
right?
Correct. And the drain also for the dishwasher too. That sounds like a P trap,
See, that we do. Yeah, that we do.
Maybe one of you investors, when you're done with a rehab, you should have one of these walkthroughs so I could point out things live.
Let's take him to Alex's. We'll take him to Alex's.
I'm scared.
That doesn't have a geo.
That's why our inspection is a visual inspection. We're not seeing through walls, you know? All right, let's continue. These are different piping. These are the PEX pipe that I talked to you about earlier. I'm a fan of CBPVC. and PVC.
That's gonna be the future of PVC, right?
Yeah, that's the future of polybutylene. I don't like it personally. Plumbers love it because it's flexible, you can twist it and turn it, but it's gonna be a problem. There's been already lawsuits on PEX too. You go Google it.
So I should not rip out all my copper pipe for PEX?
No, not at all. That's CPVC. That's what I would recommend.
Over copper?
So I don't really like copper anymore because there's a lot of pinhole leaks. And you don't detect it until it's too late.
I have a 1958 property, so I'm like, what am I doing next?
Right.
If you have your house owned in a historic district, are you allowed to take those coppers out?
You would have to consult with the building department.
Okay.
Probably
Right.
yes, because you're replacing what's inside and not the cosmetic interior appearance or exterior appearance of the property.
You have to consult and make sure you hire a licensed plumbing contractor.
Still.
Hey, James, the poly, you don't have a sample of the poly, do you?
No, oh. Let's see if this is.
Oh, I get to nightmare.
If you leave, it's got
And you have to.
It usually
replace
says PV piping, but it's similar to this.
Yeah,
blue.
It might be this.
no, that's it.
blueprint.
No, it usually says PV,
It's
Yeah.
gray, it's gray, that color.
but it looks like this.
But I think the problem with this is the connectors.
Right, but also the chlorine
Eats through it.
eats through the pipe too and the fittings.
But not PVC?
No.
Are you required to replace them for insurance if you have the poly?
Yes, well, when I do a 4-point insurance inspection, there's a question, is there polybutylene pipes in the house? I have to write check mark. And what happens a lot of times, after you close, 6 months later, you get a cancellation. You know, polybutylene needs to change everything now. All right, so be aware if you have polybutylene pipes. And the insurance company might not get it right away. They might not read the report right away. But 6 months down the road, you might get a cancellation, says you need to repipe, if not, we're canceling you. If they cancel you, they write a letter to your mortgage company, and then it's a crazy.
You either have to hide it, so the inspector doesn't see it, or you gotta replace it. No, I'm saying that's the two options. You either hide it or you change it.
Believe me, I'm gonna find it. Because I'm gonna wiggle everything. I'm gonna go in the attic. I know the age of the house, like I told you about.
Can I tell you a really quick story? I won't take too much time. I did a house in Port St. Lucie. And I called an inspector, Inspector Max. Anyways, I opened up the drywall by the thing and we noticed that it was poly. Okay. And he said,
This is being recorded for you.
yes, yes, yes.
So be careful.
This is a friend of a friend's house. Anyways, we opened up the wall, had the inspector come in. Had the inspector come in and he said, Jose, it's like, if you didn't have this piece of drywall open, I would never have guessed that there was poly in this house. And he says, I've done about 150 houses of this same model. And he's like, now you just rock my world.
Remember what I said, from 1980 to 1995, you're purchasing a house, polybutylene is in my mind.
So I ended up changing everything, the whole house, repiped it.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
There.
Did you
do permits, by the way?
I did all permits and everything required.
Because things.
Hell, we do it. Hell, we do it.
You were good after. But that was the friend of a friend of mine.
Let's get on to the next section.
That's true. It's live on Zoom.
The friend of a friend.
You're a friend.
Oh, yeah. See there's some XDE panels and Zinsco panels. So here, these were donated by an electrician. The house caught on fire, as you can see why. The problem is these breakers, they overheat and they don't trip, and it causes fires. That's why the insurance company would like to insure them. Okay? Also here, you have the weather head, you have the mast, you have the meter can, okay? You have some main panels, 200 amp panels. You got the tandem breakers here also. You got GFCIs. You got a little bit of everything here. I'm not gonna go through all the details, because I'll be here for hours or days.
You can have the breaker box outside. Doesn't have to be inside the house, right?
No, but you have to have a main.
Yeah, you have the main.
But what's happening, new construction, the main has to be outside because you need to flip one switch, the main, and this guy.
That's the roof.
Correct, correct. I like to put at least 3 feet above the roof line. And also you could do underground also. Now we're gonna go upstairs to roofing. I'm sorry I'm rushing you. I feel like I'm rushing you, but you know, there's so many things to do. Remember, you guys are not inspectors, so it's like just please have an idea what we do. Yes. I can say, hold the railing, be careful coming up. It's very sturdy.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're made in Venezuela. It's very hard to walk on it. They crack all the time.
I do some.
Correct.
You did it anymore.
Okay, now you have the dimensional or architectural shingles here. The flashing also here, the plumbing stacks. This is the three-top shingle, which is the cheapest shingle you get.
They still have it. They still.
Not really in Jade and Broward. Anywhere else consider Florida.
Otherwise, it's this one.
Yeah.
They have this.
Correct. Well, this is gonna run a long time. This is like the minimum standard, and this is a better standard.
Why is it better than that?
It's just the way, it looks better also. Remember,
I like thicker.
this is decorative. This is decorative. So if you're doing a high-end remodel, I hope you put tile or metal. If you're doing a middle, maybe a dimensional shingle or architectural shingle.
It looks better.
Yes, that's flat concrete. At my house, I have flat concrete.
That's the newer, more modern.
Yes, that's what I have. And it comes in different colors and things like that. Like I said, the roofing material is decorative. What counts is the paper underneath, like the 30-pound felt with the tin tabs to hold it down.
So this is about 30, that's 30, right?
Yeah, that's probably 30.
And then on top of that goes.
No, 30-pound, then the shingle. That's the cheapest way, the minimum standard.
Oh, the mean.
Or you could do SWR, which is putting peel and stick on every seam, then putting a 30-pound and then putting the shingle.
So this approved by the city, like
Yes,
30 on the single.
that's the cheapest way to go. And this is the cheapest shingle. But they don't allow this in Dade or Broward.
Because the uplift.
What's the longevity of this one versus that one?
Usually, this is usually 12 to 15 years. That one 15 to 20,
Okay.
you know?
What
And you
about-
can see that these shingles, they're pliable.
Yeah.
But when they get dry, they get brittle. When there's high wind speed, it blows it off.
What's the life expectancy for the concrete?
The insurance company rates them as 35 years. The concrete,
Wow.
it's not the life expectancy of the concrete, it's the paper underneath the concrete. Remember, it's decorative. You know, and you can't really use the concrete tiles because they're either glued or nailed and you'll break them off. It's just a waste of money, the landfill and everything else, unfortunately. These are wood shakes. You see this up north Florida, Jacksonville, Tallahassee area, up north in the States. They're very expensive roof. They last a long time also. That's a different dimensional shingle roof. That's very thick. It's a 5 or something. Right, it's a 3-ply shingle. It's very thick, very durable, so it's an upgrade over the dimensional or architectural shingles. Here you have slate. Slate is very expensive for high-end homes and Coral Gables. I've done the inspections for them, very slippery, so don't go on it if it's wet.
They break easily.
Also, you see the metal with the screws. That's really what David Baumler was saying. It's an upgrade from shingles. That metal roof is not as expensive as a standing seam. A standing seam, you don't see the screws. It goes over the seam and you don't see the screws. These screws are exposed to the sun. They have a rubber grommet that they dry out over time, then you have to replace the screw with a bigger screw in the same hole.
They loud?
Not really, it depends the insulation that you have in your attic, or you can put insulation board on the decking of the roof. So it depends the upgrades. There's the minimum, code is the minimum, and then there's custom, depending on what you want, or what you could afford, I should say. Behind you here, you have different cladding, which is siding. You got hardy board, you got cement board, you got vinyl, you got brick, veneer.
T111.
T111 up there. If you have any questions, let me know.
I've seen that metal in mobile homes.
Correct. Yeah, that's an upgrade. That's like, I'm an investor and I don't sell anything. I just buy a place and rent. That roof's the best roof. That's what I put up in my income office.
With the screws in?
Huh?
With the screws in?
No, screws out. It's cheaper, much cheaper.
How long was that?
No, that metal roof will last 35 years or more. 5 to 10 years, depending. The grommets have to replace it. No, it's a grommet, it's a rubber gasket with a screw.
Right, but you can't silicone.
No, you have to replace it out and put a new screw that's bigger, because you're gonna make the hole bigger now.
That would be costly, but
This? Oh, not as much as a new roof. It's maintenance, really. Any other questions? GC, any questions?
This doesn't look as bad as some of the homes I've looked.
Well, remember, I'm not getting into the details of all the defects and things like that, because we'll be here for days. You know, to be a licensed inspector in the state of Florida, home inspector, I'm a state licensed building inspector. It's a 120-hour course for pass a state exam. You know, this is like the training facility for it. But I thought as investors, because I'm also an investor, and the reason why I became an inspector, I bought a 48-unit building back in 1991, me and my family, and I hired an inspection company. And I saw what a lousy job these people are doing. And they weren't thorough, they weren't detailed. And the next year, I already had experience. I was rehabbing houses. I got my license, and I do it right ever since. Listen, don't skip out on repairs. If you don't know how to do something properly, consult it with a professional. Learn, do things properly. I understand you're trying to make the maximum amount of money, but it's your reputation. If I took shortcuts in my inspection, I wouldn't last the business too long. Have pride in what you do. If you rehab, if you don't know how to do something, inquire. We have contractors in the group. We have roofing contractors. We have everybody in this group. Consult, take a picture and send it to them and say, listen, is this right? And also have an inspection before you buy or sell any real estate. Yes.
So I have a concrete tile, then I have a building with a roof that has a concrete tile, then on top of the concrete flat tile, it has like 2 inches of foam. And then over that, it has, right, and then over that, it has an Alaska polymer, like it's a commercial done roof. How does that work?
That's gonna break down soon when you start having leaks. I see that in commercial high-rise buildings. They put this foam 2 or 3 inches, and with the UV and VA rays from the sun.
So you have to redo the Alaska polymer every couple, 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's just a bandage. It's a bandage. You're gonna have problems of maintenance of that problem. So it's a headache. It's a headache.
Okay.
So that I replace, if it starts leaking or whatever, just replace the roof if you can afford it, obviously. If you can't, you're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure it doesn't leak inside the
Have you
house.
ever seen a glass tile like this thick? I've never seen this.
No.
Why do they have that?
I have no idea. I haven't even seen that. And also they have the solar panel tiles. Have you seen those?
Yes. And I've seen metal, obviously, these.
Yes.
Metal.
Made metal. There's so much materials, it's not funny.
James, if you're gonna do a repair, let's say you do an inspection, they want you to change some shingles, can you match that? Usually is it?
Get a professional, tell them to match it as best as possible. Because when I take pictures for the insurance company, they're gonna notice.
New ones, old ones.
Correct. Then,
The same color is gonna be discolored.
correct,
And you can't paint.
no, never paint, any roof.
I go say,
They
you did one of those.
Answered of my condominium, they had already painted last month. They came out and they repainted, make them all.
What can I tell you?
What
But it's paint tile and concrete. The problem is,
The insert is shingle.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's,
yeah, you can't
that's
paint.
not like,
What happens?
it's not the right thing to do because an engineer
It has to
designed
bring-
this roofing, all these roofing systems.
So what's gonna happen to?
Well, it's gonna get dried out and maybe the shingle starts coming off the mansard.
They just did it to buy some time.
That's it.
They did.
They did it cosmetically, what it looks like cosmetically.
That's my $70,000 assessment.
They painted it.
We were mad because they replaced them, they painted, and then they said, oh, the tiles are here to replace all the defective ones. And we were looking at it like popcorn. I said, well, you have to pay to paint it again. So we just had it repainted.
What can I tell you? I hate condos. I would never invest in a condo. So the big problems the big problems in Florida is condominiums, you know, special assessment.
I'm gonna,
It's not a good time. People are trying to sell it, unload it. They can't sell it.
Yeah.
Special assessments are high, maybe it's high.
oh,
It's a big problem. People are relocating.
Damn near worthless. in
It's
Florida.
a good time to dissolve associations and
Yes.
redevelopment opportunities.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
Over 2 stories, don't buy.
we'll never get a condo.
I'll never buy a condo. We launch an HOA. I want to have full control as an investor on my property. I don't want restrictions.
Alex, cancel my condo contract.
I mean, it's a good deal. It's all about the dollars and cents. It's a good deal. Don't do it, you know?
Yeah, you got a good deal now.
But no, but a lot of the times they don't know, like the board or the management, they're not gonna, if they have an engineer's report, you need to figure out what's in that.
Well, that
engineer's
was all due on the buildings. That was all due, I think first of the year, somewhere in
Yes,
there.
yes.
That the 40 years all had to be done
But
and all the
not the
special assessments.
prices,
And reserves and
not the
everything.
prices that they're gonna cost, and when you start to chisel concrete, they don't know how much rebar is messed up.
It's gonna be,
So sometimes the contractor starts.
Yeah.
And they find more concrete rebar flaking like fish.
Association, we don't have money. So it's
Raise more.
Oh, yeah.
all right, that's
It's
it.
an endless.
Cancel the condo.
You just killed my deal.
I can reach my business card here. I will go back, sit down, and then we'll pass the mic around and introduce ourselves. So,
Sandwiches, right? Now, everybody knows you.
Yeah.
You don't have to introduce yourself anymore.
Clean as well.
That's super. If you're ready to be cut through, my business card there. Does anybody have any more questions? Thank you, thank you.